Hello, friends. Welcome to Plant the Change Straight Talk, empowering the next generation to grow into compassionate, conscious citizens of the world. Today's episode is called Burn the Handbook, because the old rule book we've been using to run schools, the one that was written for a different century, is still being used to shape the minds, bodies, and futures of kids today. And I'm here to say it's not just outdated, it's harmful. So let's talk about why we need to let it go and what to build in its place. Let's start with the truth. School hasn't changed, but everything else around us has. We're still preparing kids for careers that don't exist anymore or are on their way out the door. Meanwhile, the real world is evolving at warp speed. According to the World Economic Forum, 44% of core job skills will change by 2027. 85 million jobs globally are expected to be displaced by automation and AI. That's not just change, that is upheaval. And education has not kept up. We used to teach typewriting. I remember it because I took it. Then we added basic computer labs. Now, AI writes essays, AI codes, AI schedules meetings, AI even creates art and music. Our students are stepping into a world where AI can do the technical, but humans must bring the ethical, emotional, and imaginative. They need to be able to work in diverse teams, interpret information ethically, solve problems that don't have right answers, adapt, reflect, and lead with emotional intelligence. And yet, we're still giving worksheets. We're still grading speed over thoughtfulness, still preparing for tests instead of preparing for reality. It's like we're training them to live in a world that ended years ago. Let's talk about the red flags. The outdated things we've accepted as normal in school because they've been around forever. Here's what we've normalized: bathroom passes, silent lunches, public clip charts for behavior, act your age instead of tell me what's going on, endless standardized testing, kids sitting in chairs for 6 long hours, workloads that produce burnout, not brilliance. If these happened in an adult workplace, we'd literally call HR. But because it happens to kids, we call it structure. But structure without empathy is control. And control without connection is not education, it's conditioning. These practices aren't neutral. They teach kids who's in charge, whose voice matters, and what happens if you challenge the system. At Solid Rock Community School and with Compassionate Humane Education, we dismantled that framework. And what happened? Kids started breathing again, speaking again, asking questions, because now they're in a place where their humanity is the foundation, not their compliance. The old rule book says discipline is about obedience, not control. But here's the truth. You cannot punish a child into regulation. You cannot shame a student into empathy. We've treated misbehavior like a disease instead of a symptom. We've ignored trauma and called it defiance. We've prioritized order over understanding. Compassionate Humane Education says, let's get curious before we correct. Let's ask what's happening under the surface before we write referrals. Real discipline guides. It doesn't humiliate. And when students know they're safe to be themselves, even when they're struggling, they don't need control, they need connection. Even when we're not explicitly teaching a lesson, we're still sending a message. We teach grades equals worth, silence equals respect, obedience equals success, mistakes equals shame, conformity equals safety, but that isn't learning, that's programming. What if instead we taught learning is messy and not linear? Emotions are part of intelligence, and that your voice matters even when it challenges authority, and that mistakes are data, they're not failure. We need to be intentional about the culture we create, because what students feel every day becomes what they believe about themselves. And I don't want any child believing they're only valuable when they're quiet, fast, or right.
Hello, friends. You can help make a difference by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the Plant the Change podcast. And you can visit us at solidrockflorida.org to learn more about Solid Rock Community School and the sanctuary at Solid Rock. Your support makes a real impact and helps plant the change. Our Compassionate Humane Education framework at changemaker.org is now available for schools, sanctuaries, educational programs, and families who want to bring kindness, empathy, and compassion-centered learning into their own communities. Whether you're an educator, parent, or part of an animal rescue or sanctuary, the CHI framework provides ready-to-use tools that uplift learning environments and build a more compassionate world. For more information or to enroll, visit chiimpact.org today.
Let's talk about intelligence. In most schools, smart still means finishing fast, sitting still, speaking only when asked, following instructions. We reward speed over insight, accuracy over curiosity, neatness over innovation. But here's the truth. Being a great student and being a great thinker are not always the same thing. The kid who builds stories in their head, smart. The one who questions everything, and I have one like that, smart. The child who can sense the mood in the room, smart. The artist, the introvert, the builder, the emotional one, and I have some of them too, smart. We need to redefine what brilliance looks like, because the kids we label as difficult, distracted, or disrupted, they might just be the ones who will lead us into a future no one else could imagine. Let's talk about what we're losing. By clinging to outdated systems, we are sacrificing confidence, creativity, curiosity, joy, emotional safety, passion for learning. And I'm getting upset saying that because it's really sad, actually. We're graduating kids who know how to pass tests but don't know how to advocate for themselves, who know how to follow but not how to lead. And that's the cost of using a rule book built for obedience and not brilliance. If we're going to burn the handbook, we better be ready to write a better one. Here's what we need to include: social emotional learning, sustainability education, humane education, neurodiversity celebration, conflict resolution, food literacy, mindfulness, ethics, real-life problem solving, digital literacy, empathy-driven leadership. We don't need students who can repeat facts. We need humans who can repair what's broken, imagine what's possible, and lead with integrity. At Solid Rock Community School, we didn't wait for approval to do something better. We built it. We have a fully plant-based kitchen. We have our own animal sanctuary with rescued animals, curriculum aligned with ethics and sustainability and empathy. A school culture built on belonging, voice, and purpose. We don't just teach compassion here. We live it through the food we serve, the way we guide behavior, the projects we build, and the animals we protect. And it works. Our students are not just educated, they are connected. They're not just informed, they're equipped. The old handbook says, don't rock the boat. Stay in your lane, respect authority, play it safe. I say, burn the handbook, question the system, build something that actually serves kids. Because if you're still preparing students for a world that no longer exists, then you are part of the problem. We can do better, and I'm not going to settle. You don't have to play by broken rules. You can lead with love, teach with integrity, and raise the bar while raising conscious, compassionate kids. So let's stop tweaking around the edges. Let's stop rewarding what's easy and punishing what's different. Let's stop managing students and start mentoring humans. The future won't wait. Our kids are already watching. This is the moment to do it differently. Burn the handbook and plant the change. Until next time, thanks for listening.
The Plant the Change podcast explores how education drives societal transformation, nurtures compassionate and responsible citizens, and plants the seeds of change for a better tomorrow. At Solid Rock, Florida, we're a nonprofit committed to compassionate, humane education, an approach that blends academic excellence, ethical responsibility, and emotional growth. You can help make a difference by liking, commenting, subscribing, and sharing the Plant the Change podcast. You can also visit us at solidrockflorida.org to learn more about Solid Rock Community School and Sanctuary at Solid Rock. Your support makes a real impact and helps plant the change. Together, we can redefine the future of education and create a world guided by compassion and ethical responsibility. Until next time, stay kind, stay curious, and keep making a difference.